Okay. Anybody wants to share anything? Has any burning questions, more questions, or some experience or anything? Anilji, you have something to say?
I think we were just talking about worshipping formless or with form. The goal is single pointedness of the mind.
Yes.
Whatever takes you there.
Very nicely put, yes. That's what it is. That's when Krishna Bhagwan said your mind has to be absorbed in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Ravi Shankar, he said, when you stop trying only, you will get things,
Yeah.
So you just sit calmly and just be the receptor.
Yeah.
Then things will fall. Basically, you need to calm your mind, your senses, your cells, every cell in your body. And you just be ready to, receive. That's all. Be like an empty vessel.
Yeah, and I think that it was one of the Swaminis where I had brought that idea to you. She said, there is one thing is in meditation, guaranteed failure, she said. When you start, he's saying, and not one time, many times. So it's something that we cannot expect that you will sit and suddenly your mind will become quiet and you will realize Brahman. It's a journey. Practice by Vivek and Vairagya. Remember he said that. Abhyas and Vairagya. Yeah. The Vivek comes as a part of Vairagya because you cannot have a Vairagya until you have a Vivek.
And I think because our intellect is busy in dealing with the worldly things, you have to free it from worldly things to go to where you start to go into self-realization. Otherwise, you're so busy doing your worldly things.
True. So in some ways, it's probably commendable for everybody in the group because when you are in the world, see, if you're sitting in the gufa, you don't have all these jhanjat, Here you wake up in the morning and you start getting phone calls of troubles, all kinds of things. And you have to deal with that and then you still have to find time for Vedanta and meditation.
And that's why for some people it's impossible to live in the world and realize yourself. That's why they go away,
But that's where it's a big revelation, okay, Anilji. Actually, according to Krishna Bhagwan, it does not matter. Right. Because once you start getting some clarity and you start establishing in it, people don't get fazed by their challenges then. In fact, that becomes a stepping stone for more heights, Somebody was saying that if you really want to know whether you have conquered anger or not, it's much easier to know when you are in a household. Because कोई गुफा में बैठा हो ना, वो बोलेगा हाँ मैंने तो एंगर कॉन्कर कर लिया. एक दृष्टांत भी है कि वन गाय से अच्छा कर लिया, उसको खूब चढ़ा लगा, एंड में वो एकदम भड़क उठा. तो इसे you said you conquered anger. लेकिन घर में तो 10 लोग तुम लोग को एंग्री बनाएंगे. We think that वो लोग बना रहे हैं, but actually it is our own mind. That's what we learned.
We all are in that age group that we are in the Varnast ashram, so we don't have, we're not raising kids right now. So we can actually devote some time to the spiritual activity.
That depends on each one. Some people is raising their kids until they die. They are still raising that. Depends on the child, number one. And number two, then grandkids can come along too if they live in the same town. So it depends. Idea is that whatever is in your plate, some people have empty nest. So then they have a lot more. Other people may not, but both of them are qualified to do. See what I'm trying to say? We cannot say that, when I will do ये होगा तब मैं बढ़ूंगी. अगर ऐसा होता तो कृष्ण भगवान उसको बैटल फील्ड में क्यों देते ज्ञान? बोले युद्ध कर ले पूरा, उसके बाद मैं देता हूँ, राइट? द वर्स्ट सिचुएशन में उसको दिया उन्होंने. Because in some ways you are more receptive. Think about it. हम लोग अगर दुनिया से दुखी नहीं होते तो क्या कि गीता पढ़ते क्या बोलो? I don't know. I would have not come to Geeta if I didn't feel like,
once in दुनिया से दुखी होने की जरूरत नहीं. Everybody is seeking something beyond, the family.
Same thing I was saying, that I'm not getting the full satisfaction in the world. How much things I have, how much money I have, how much relationships I have, I'm not getting it, right? Something is lacking in me. But when things go wrong in your, तभी भगवान याद आता है ना. अगर सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा चल रहा हो, लोग भूलना शुरू कर देते हैं.
Yeah, that's right.
हाँ, और ऐसे अकड़ भी आ जाती है, मैंने किया सब कुछ. हाँ, फिर जब कुछ गलत होता है तो गॉड व्हाई डिड दिस हैपन, तब जल्दी से गॉड याद आता है हम लोग को.
वो रहीम का दुआ है ना कि दुख में सिमरन सब करें, सुख में करे ना कोई.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, when we are doing Bhagavad Gita, each chapter is called the yoga of something, right? Like this one is Jnana Yoga or Atma Sanyam Yoga of chapter 6. And this one is Jnana Vigyan Yoga, the one that we are doing, chapter 7. Uska title is Jnana Vigyan Yoga, right? So, some question, say, hey, how come chapter 1 be yoga? Because उसमें तो अर्जुन depressed होके बैठा हुआ है. And he just, because that depression became the cause of him to connect with the higher. That's why it's called Vishad Yoga. The Vishad में भी योग हो गया उसका. So it's like if I am really upset about something, and if I can remember God and may go back to Bhagavad Gita and say, okay, I'm all upset, I'm not getting it, but this is what Krishna Bhagavan said, I'm connecting to him. So that becomes my path then. So I think that whatever your thing was that leaving the world or not leaving the world according to Krishna Bhagavan does not matter. It's very hard for us to imagine, but that's the truth.
The problem is it takes a much stronger person to live in the world.
There you go. Yeah. दोनों की अलग अलग डिफिकल्टी है. बिकॉज अगर वो सन्यासी जो होते हैं ना, बोलते तुम लोग को सन्यासी का बहुत इजी लगता है कि 2 दिन पेड़ के नीचे बैठ के देखो फिर मालूम पड़ेगा. So हम लोग को लगता है कि सब छोड़ छाड़ के बहुत इजी है. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट, एंड देन these Hare Krishna people, शीला जी इज हियर. उन लोग की मंगल आरती 4:30 बजे होती है सुबह. Everybody gets up at 3:30. They have to do their chanting, nahana, ye wo. Otherwise, you cannot be a sannyas. They take a vow to do all. They will kick them out.
And
they don't do it.
And every day, not सर्दी हो, गर्मी हो, बरसात हो, कुछ इनका मैटर फ्री है.
तो इतना अगर किसी में डिसिप्लिन होगा तभी वो पाथ ले सकता है.
सही बात. ये लोग ना पहले 18 मंथ उनको कहते हैं प्रैक्टिस करो पहले, फिर इनको दीक्षा देते हैं.
हाँ ऐसे नहीं देते.
दीक्षा दे दिया नो. अगर तुम्हें लगता है ना तुम ये क्या चाहे ये सब चीजें छोड़ सकते हो, अनियन गार्लिक, and then you come, then they give the diksha, otherwise they won't, which is good too.
Yeah, means they know that your mind is controllable or not. So there are so many different, every panth has their own path and all that. But the whole idea is the same thing, that बोलते हैं ना दूर के ढोल सुहावने लगते हैं. वो किसी को लगता है कि वो ग्रस्त इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, उनको लगता है कि वो अदर इज डिफिकल्ट. बट हे, जो लोग का ऐसे मन से उन लोग का, if the grahast ashram is not for you, very early you know it.
Very early you know it,
yeah. And sometimes it has happened that somebody wanted to do a sannyas and the guru told them, no, you go get married. And opposite bhi hua hai. That guy want to get married and he said, no, that not, because the guru kind of knew something inside of that person. कभी-कभी लोग ऐसे pressure में आके भी कर देते हैं.
To tell the people that even when you are married, you can still attain God. So that's why they want them to be the teacher and be a married person.
Who's that? What's that? Sorry, what did you say, Sneha?
Shri M, I don't know if you have heard about Shri
Yeah,
M.
Shri M, I've heard about him. I've listened to his thing. There are so many.
His guru actually told him to go and get married because he wanted him to teach the Gyan.
Yep.
He said, and he was a Muslim actually. And he
he's a
saw
Muslim.
his guru when he was 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And then he learned all the scriptures, Hinduism and everything.
Who is that? His name?
Shri M is
Shri M.
Yeah. If you go on internet and you type in
Just
Shri M,
YouTube में Shri M.
He's a disciple of Babaji.
परमानंद योगानंद का ही महाअवतार बाबाजी और उनके जो नीचे चेले थे ना, वो उनके गुरु थे.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In fact, he was teaching a Vedanta course in Delhi University. There are a couple of videos about that.
Very learned, yeah.
Very learned, yeah. Very learned, yeah. So, yeah, there are so many
And
different...
because his father was a business, and this fellow was the only son, I think. Others were sisters. So he ran away from home. So his guru said, after teaching him and all that, he said, you go back home. Get married and everything.
I mean, Bhagavad Gita is
what to do next.
Perfect example that Krishna Bhagwan chose Arjuna to give the knowledge. वहाँ इतने बड़े-बड़े धुरंधर बैठे हुए थे, Bhishma Pitama and so many gurus and all that. He chose...
Yeah, and he was
householder. He had, so many children, wives, and he had a job. Most difficult job that हम लोग कहते हैं हमारा job difficult है, उसका तो सबसे ज़्यादा difficult job था.
जहाँ जाता था वहीं शादी कर लेता था. Still he gave him the knowledge. Yeah.
So to give that point only that.
Right. उसने पाया ना माँ बाप.
सभी भाइयों ने की थी multiple शादी because वो लोग राजा थे ना.
सबसे ज़्यादा की अर्जुन ने इसने सबसे ज़्यादा करी. तो ये बहुत हैंडसम था. सबसे ज़्यादा तो इसलिए.
Well, I think that उनका जो उद्देश्य था ना यहाँ पर उसकी वजह से there is a whole thing अभी क्योंकि right. हर एक का कारण था. So anyway, that's a whole different topic. But basically, I think coming back.
The middle person, and अपने चक्र में भी जो middle मूलधारा is that's like उससे either you can rise up or you can go down. So that's why Arjuna was also chosen if you look at it in the scientific way.
I mean, you don't even have to go very deep science. Arjun was like same problems he was having like we do. Dilemma every day, and then they said, go fight the war. So, Gurudev Chinmayananji tells that he's telling you, fight the war, your own war, what you have every day. हम भी तो लड़ते ही है ना every day. और क्या है? हमारी life भी तो एक लड़ाई है. और क्या? Life is like a, war going on between good, bad, all these things in my own head also.
It's a constant struggle between the mind and the intellect.
Correct. And if you want to go to that analogy, it's very beautiful. They say that negative tendencies are 100 in us, like Kauravas. Yeah. Positives are very few. Yeah. But agar wo saath mein ho jaye and surrender to Lord Krishna, then you can win the war. That's the whole symbolism about it in our internal war. It's so beautiful, right? So they're bigger in number because even physically the army was bigger, right? Kauravaki. But if you surrender to God, you can win. And then there is I don't know, have you heard of this? Because sometimes, from other cultures, such a wisdom comes. This Red Indians, unme ek kahavat hai. Ki there are two different wolves living in everybody's head. One is a wolf which is really bad wolf. Does, think bad things and thinking bad stuff. And the one is a good wolf, thinking goody stuff. So kisi ne pucha, hey, which wolf is stronger in my head? He's saying the one you feed will be stronger. तो अगर तुम बुरा को ज़्यादा फीड करोगे, सोचते रहोगे तो वो स्ट्रांग हो जाएगा. और अच्छा को सोचोगे तो वो स्ट्रांग हो जाएगा. So that was such a simple way that they put it, that both are in ours. And the symbolism is Kaurav and Pandav, they are cousins. Right? So the good tendencies and the bad tendencies are cousins because they are coming from the same mind. Mind में से निकलता है ना. So the father is one only. उसमें से बुरा भी निकला और अच्छा भी निकला thoughts. Symbolism of all these Vedantic stuff is so deep that it's just unbelievable. Some of it is mentioned in the beginning of chapters. Yeah. Anyway. Good.
Okay, Hari.
Yeah.
I think I will be doing.
Okay. All right. We'll see you next time then. Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.